This screencast was produced and is hosted by the open source knowledge contributors at DevCast.co. Hi, my name is John Davison with DevCast.co. I'm going to do a quick overview of the Bunny gem. Bunny is a really efficient Ruby gem that allows for establishing different styles of message queues. The first message queue that we're going to look at is called a direct message queue. It's the most straightforward type of queue. Effectively, you have some type of service that publishes information into an exchange. An exchange and a queue are bound, and some other type of service might be paying attention to that queue, and it can do something when information enters the queue. Bunny is built on top of RabbitMQ, so make sure that you have RabbitMQ server running locally. And if you're on a Mac, you can install RabbitMQ with brew install RabbitMQ. I'm not going to get into that installation process. Let's jump right into a coding example. First thing we're going to want to do is require Bunny. We're going to create a new connection. Then we're going to create a channel. Once we've created our channel, we're going to create some queues. The important thing to pay attention to in the direct exchange is that we will be naming these with very particular names. Pay attention because that'll be important later on in the tutorial. Now we're going to create a default exchange. Once we've done that, we're going to subscribe the queues, and we're going to give them a little bit of logic so they can do something. This is a trivial example, so they're just going to be displaying information through puts command. Once we've done that, now we're actually going to publish information to the exchange. Once the information goes into the exchange, then based on the routing key, the information will get put in its respective queue, and then the queue will actually do something. Now, we'll tell the app to sleep, and then we'll close the connection. Let's jump in our terminal and see what happens when we run this. As you can see, each queue basically took the message it was given and it then printed it out and interpolated it into a string. That's a very high level look at a direct exchange. And Bunny, next up, I'm going to do a fan-out exchange. A fan-out exchange is slightly different. In a fan-out exchange, once a service publishes information into an exchange, all queues that have been bound to that exchange will then receive the information, and then the consumers will all consume directly from that queue. An excellent example of something like this in the real world might be a Twitter feed, where the individual user might make a tweet, and then all those users' followers are basically going to want to get that tweet. So you're going to need some mechanism that allows for one-to-many communication, and a fan-out exchange is a really useful way to do that. Let's jump into the code real quick. I'm going to assume you've already got RabbitMQ installed, so we're going to create a new connection. Then we're basically going to create a channel, and we're going to create an exchange. And in this situation, notice that we're calling fan-out on the channel, and we're giving it a title, in this case surf swells. I like to surf. And we're going to go ahead and create some queues that could be representative of people in the real world, as if we were Twitter. And we're going to name the queue, and we're going to bind it to the exchange, and then we're going to subscribe it all in one block. Once we've done that, we're going to now publish a couple different pieces of information. We're going to publish the first surf report, and then we're going to publish that second surf report. We'll add the requisite close connection. Let's save that, and then let's go see what happens. So we're going to run this command, and as you can see, the messages were fanned out to each user in all situations, much like how Twitter works. That's a high-level look at a fan-out exchange. Next up is a topic exchange. Next up, we're going to look at a topic exchange. A topic exchange basically allows for unique routing of messages through queues based on a routing system that allows for end users to, or end subscribers to specify what types of information they might like to get. Consider a weather report. Maybe you live in Seattle and you want to get weather reports for the Pacific Northwest, and you want to get weather reports maybe for somewhere else in the world, but you don't necessarily want to be inundated with all weather reports. So a topic queue is an excellent way to handle that. Let's look at the code. First, we're going to want to require Bunny, and we're going to want to create a channel. Then we're going to title that channel as a topic channel. The unique thing that we're going to do is that basically we're not going to title each individual queue. We're going to leave the title blank, but we're actually going to use a relatively unique routing key. And in this case, this queue will listen in for any routing key that starts with world.politics. And in this situation, the hash mark is somewhat like a regex or a wildcard, and it will basically match to 0 or more words. So as long as the routing key starts with world.politics, this queue will basically pick it up. In this next example, we have the hash mark at the beginning of the routing key. So in this case, any routing key that ends with .internetgovernance.cybercrime will be put into this queue. And these are a couple more examples of how that works. And then let's go ahead and publish some information into these queues. Here you can see that we have world.politics.internetgovernance.cybercrime, and we expect to see that 3 times because it corresponds to the routing keys specified for the queues, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to get super into the details of establishing the routing keys. I just want you to understand how it is the nature of the routing key that governs what information is subscribed into which queues. Then we're going to go ahead and complete the file. Let's save this and then go to the terminal and see what we get. So you can see that effectively different queues grab different pieces of information, and in a topic exchange that's governed by the routing key. This is obviously a very high-level look at the use of a topic exchange, but I'm sure that you can think about how this might be used in a more complex fashion. Again, I'm John Davison, and this has been a DevCast on the Bunny gem. Connect further with this screencast author and get access to other world-class on-demand developer support at devhero.co.